Square Peg Show for February 21st, 2018. I'm Jesse.
I'm Brandon.
All right, so have you seen Black Panther yet?
I have not.
Okay, I haven't either. My wife's been out of town, and I'm not allowed to watch this without her, so we're going to be a little bit behind on the Black Panther review. But there is some pretty interesting news out there I wanted to talk about a little bit. Speaking of Black Panther, apparently there were two kids trying to get into a Black Panther showing, like one on the other one's shoulders, and they're in a trench coat like the old cartoons.
Yes, they were, and that is I think they. I think they got the joke from BoJack Horseman,
probably
with Vincent Adult Man.
And I mean, it's not like they were too young or something. I think they were just trying to get in like 2 for $1 or something. But it's hilarious.
Yeah, but
the pictures are awesome, and
he was like 8 foot tall.
Yes, he was. Genius, absolute genius. So I'm very happy that the internet has shared that with us. So the next thing, I'm going to kind of hit some points here a little bit quick. So the next thing was going to be some fucking show called Krypton. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay.
What?
This is coming out on Sci-Fi, and it's like before Smallville. So like this is before Superman comes to Earth, and it's like Jor-El is running around doing Jor-El stuff on Krypton, and the planet's gonna explode. Blah blah blah. I cannot believe that they're still making this garbage, and I don't understand.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, like I just had to look it up, and yeah, holy crap! And it's being produced for Sci-Fi or Sci-Fi, whatever, by David S. Goyer.
Yeah.
Who he was the writer for the Nolan Batman trilogy.
Yes.
But he was also the writer for Man of Steel and BVS.
Yeah.
And he's also apparently the writer for 2020's Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about Green Lantern. And I still have some bad memories of it.
He's also working on a Masters of the Universe movie that's supposed to come out next year. First time hearing about that. We'll get into it.
With Dolph?
I doubt it's with Dolph, unfortunately.
He's got to be there.
Oh, you know what? He also wrote the television movie 1998's Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, the one with the Hoff?
The one with the Hoff, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, they're still just churning out this garbage. And this is the one thing that I've noticed is that, I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there, and they dig Arrow, and they dig Flash, and they dig Supergirl. And DC's kind of got a good thing going there. I don't think it's good television, but there are a lot of people out there that like it. But now we have 3 shows that interconnect, and so they're kind of making their own little mini universe on the small screen, but it doesn't have anything to do with anything that they're doing on the big screen. And then Krypton will not have anything to do with any of those. So it's going to be its own little standalone thing, and I just don't get it. I don't understand their game plan. I'm trying to figure out. Are they trying to figure out? Like, are they waiting for Marvel to die, and then they're going to actually put some effort into this stuff, or what?
Man, I don't know. Because you're right. You have Arrow, Flash, Smallville. I think those all existed within the same universe. I'm not sure if Smallville was over by the time those other ones came around.
I think those were over, but Supergirl is in those 3.
Okay, so you have their small screen universe, which is in no way tied to the DC cinematic universe.
No.
Not at all.
Nope.
And but then on Marvel's side, all of the Marvel movies and the TV shows all exist within that universe unless they have to do with X-Men.
Yeah, like everything. The only thing I'm not sure about is like Cloak and Dagger, but I'm pretty sure that they are too.
I believe they are. I don't know if they're ever going to try to tie them all in later.
I really doubt it. I mean, especially from apparently Defenders wasn't great, but here's the thing about what they've done. It's not like Chris Hemsworth showed up on the set of on Punisher or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
All they had to do was just make small references to the larger MCU that's happening on the big screen, and now they're connected, and that's all it really takes. And just the fact that exists, I think, is awesome and cool, even if the shows aren't great. Like, I know you're a big Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. I know, like, Mike was a big fan of Agent Carter. I never really got into that stuff, but just to know that stuff is interconnected, there's a part of me that's like, I feel like I want to go watch them just because.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not like it takes much, you know what I mean? But I guess if you have a Flash television show and then have a Flash character show up in a movie is gonna hard to separate those or bring them together or whatever. I don't know. It's just bad planning from the start, I think. To be honest, so.
And honestly, I wasn't aware of how many TV shows are in the cinematic universe. Obviously, there's
like a lot.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, Inhumans.
Yeah.
Then the Netflix ones. But then you also have Marvel Runaways, Marvel's Cloak and Dagger, and then I guess these haven't come out yet. Marvel's New Warriors, Most Wanted, and Damage Control. Actually, I'm sorry. Marvel's Most Wanted, the plans for that were canceled.
Well, I mean, Damage Control... I mean, isn't that where Michael Keaton's character was in Spider-Man Homecoming? And wasn't he part of that whole thing?
It does. Well, I'm thinking that... I'm sorry. I think New Warriors, Most Wanted, and Damage Control are... Or no, okay. Scratch that. Blah, blah, blah. Most Wanted and Damage Control were planned but never aired. Marvel's New Warriors is not out yet. It's still in pre-production. And Cloak and Dagger is preparing to air. Yeah. But then there's also a bunch of short films and some digital series and all the comic books that are part of the cinematic universe. And DC just don't got that.
No, they're not even close. And again, I'm trying to figure out if they're doing this on purpose, where they're like, we can't really top this right now. Maybe later in the future, and they're like holding their cards to the chest kind of thing. I mean, I hope, because there's a lot of stuff in DC that I really like. There's a lot I don't. But there's a lot of stuff in DC I really like, especially speaking of the Green Lantern Corps. I've always been a big fan of that storyline about that whole idea. But if they're just dropping the ball, if it's anything like the Ryan Reynolds movie, then just forget about it. Don't even make movies anymore. Just be done.
It's true. That's very true. I had to look it up, and Krypton, it's at 200 years before Superman is born, and it looks like from the casting, it's the House of El and the House of Zod doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but if it's anything like Smallville, it's like, is Lex a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is Zod gonna save everyone? Who cares? Who gives a shit? We know how it ends. I don't really give a shit how you get there, because it's just gonna be filler. It's not gonna be anything of any substance whatsoever.
Right, so, and there's a little footnote that says Doomsday and Hawkgirl will appear in the series. So you've lost it. You lost me already.
So, all right, moving on from that hot garbage, we're going to move on to some other hot garbage, which is the Transformers movies. So there was a rumor that they were going to reboot the Transformers movie series, but now Hasbro's coming out and saying, don't believe what you hear, that's not going to happen. But
right, so there was supposed to be...
Most of the reports came from Hasbro to start with.
Right, and from what I was reading is they were going to reboot it after the Bumblebee spinoff movie.
Right.
But now I did see, it was posted sometime yesterday, that maybe that's not actually happening.
Like, they don't even know. And part of me is like, please, God, reboot it. But on the other hand, I'm like, no, absolutely not. Number one, if you're not going to have Peter Cullen, was that his name?
Yes.
Yeah. If you're not, it took me a second. If you're not going to have him, like you've already had him for these Michael Bay travesties, it's unlikely that you're going to have him for this next reboot. And I mean, if you can't have him, then you don't have a Transformers movie as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Michael Bay doesn't think so. All you really need is more titties and explosions, but, you know.
Well, I mean, come on. Titties and explosions sell tickets.
I'm not saying I won't watch titties and explosions. I'm just saying don't call it Transformers. Call it Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, this whole thing started because the sixth Transformers movie, which I can't believe we're already up to 5.
Oh my God.
Was scheduled for a release of June 18th of next year, and that was removed from the production schedule. Good. So I think that's where a lot of it came back, that maybe they were going to be rebooting it. Maybe they were, but I think they're probably just going to let it sit for a while.
Yes.
Maybe let everyone forget about Marky Mark. But here's the other problem is, it's a partnership between Paramount and Hasbro. So apparently they have movies in the works for some of their other property. There's plans for another G.I. Joe movie. Yeah. There's plans for a Micronauts movie and plans for another Dungeons and Dragons movie. If it does not have Jeremy Irons, I don't want it.
No, if it doesn't have one of the Wayans brothers, I don't want to watch it.
Oh, Marlon needs work.
Yeah, well, you know. All right, so moving on from those giant robots into other giant robots. So we've had a few new trailers now for the new Pacific Rim movie, and if you guys have listened to this show at all, you know I'm a huge fan of the first Pacific Rim movie. And being that kind of fanboy, I'm here to tell you that I think this new trailer looks like bullshit. I mean,
dude,
am I alone here?
No, you are not. Like the visuals, I'm fine with. I kind of like how everything's kind of well lit, so you can kind of see what's going on. And in some of the newer trailers, they've definitely polished up the CGI, added a lot more detail and texture.
Yes.
To the Jaegers, but God damn, the acting and the dialogue.
No,
every single line just sounds like they're reading it directly off the page. And look, I love John Boyega.
One-liners. That's all they are, just one-liners.
I know, like I love John Boyega,
yes.
But this is not going to be good for his career.
No, it's not. And this is what sucks. So if you look at the original Pacific Rim movie, and again, I love this movie. I mean, you know, you walk into the theater and you're like, it's giant robots and giant monsters. This is mindless fun. I mean, it's the 9-year-old version of Titties and Explosions, right?
Right.
But when you really watch that movie, like it does a lot of universe building, and it's actually deeper than you think it is. Mm-hmm. Especially when they go into everything up to this point and how almost every nation, every coastal nation, had their own Jaeger as a defender, and you know how at one point it was just single pilots, and you know that was killing pilots, and that's why they ended up going with a 2-pilot system, and that's why you know Homeboy's like bleeding out of his nose. You know what I'm saying? Like it starts getting really deep. It's just universe building. But this feels like they just Michael Bay'd it. Like it's just all right. Let's not worry about the deep stuff. Everyone got in the seats because it was just mindless entertainment. But I disagree with that horribly, and that's all this looks like it's going to be. It's just like a horrible song with a horrible one-liners all through the trailer. I mean, I don't get any of that, and maybe I don't know. It looks kind of like they're fighting each other, like it's robot jocks all of a sudden. Like what's happening there?
I do think there is going to be a little bit of a robot jocks angle going on, because I guess after the kaijus were taken out, they're like, what?
Crash and burn.
But I'm thinking that after they defeated the kaijus in the first movie, they're like, well, we got these giant robots. What are we going to use them against now? Yeah, right. How about each other?
Let's make a new TV show.
Now here's a thing. I feel like the first Pacific Rim had so much charm because of Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
And you know, maybe if he had made Shape of Water right after, they would have been like, okay, you can still, all right, you're still good.
Yes.
Because the new director, Stephen S. DeKnight, this is his only credit. He's writing and directing it. This is his only credit.
Yeah, see, this is what really makes me think that they were just like, let's just do the mindless surface part and sell those tickets, because I mean, if you're going to give it to someone who's completely unknown, then, you know, it's the studio doesn't really care so much about it, I don't think. And it's just going to be, you know, an effects fest, and it makes me sad. If it were me, I wouldn't have made a sequel, and usually I hate prequels, but I would have made a prequel because all of the flashback stuff in the original movie looks so interesting and fun and cool. That I would have loved to have seen more Cherno Alpha. Good God, that was like the coolest mech out there. It was so
I know, it really was.
And then Crimson Typhoon is awesome, and I'm like, give me more of this. I want these guys. I want more of it.
Now to like get with some behind the scenes stuff. Obviously, you know, DeKnight, this is his first film, but he, like, one of the co-writers for one of the people that worked on the screenplay. All she's done is the Maze Runner series.
Oh God! Oh God!
So this is going to be a hot steaming pile of kaiju shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go watch it. I just do not.
Absolutely.
I just do not have the highest hope, and to me, it's gonna cheapen the whole.
I wonder if it's going to be Pacific Rim 2 or if it's going to be Atlantic Rim 2.
Oh, please. Oh, please. If you guys haven't seen Atlantic Rim, by the way, it's one of the most terrible mockbusters out there. Please go watch that. It's fantastic.
Yep. You got to go out and get yourself a solid rim job.
All right, so moving on a little bit here. So apparently Bill and Ted 3 is in the works. They're talking about this.
Bill and Ted 3 is in the works.
and they're talking about bringing back William Sadler as Death, which I'm a big fan of that guy. I will watch him in just about anything. And Shawshank, he was awesome, and Bill and Ted 2 is awesome. He's done a lot of good work, and he's goofy and campy and silly.
Yes. Now, Keanu Reeves, anytime he does an interview, someone asks, what's up with Bill and Ted 3? And it's actually a project that him and Alex Winters have been wanting to do. And there was some issue with the rights to the property. I think they finally got that sorted out. I think Alex Winter is probably going to be doing the screenplay and directing. So I'm pretty excited. I'm actually really, really excited to see this because, the last movie, let's see, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, that came out in 89, and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey was in 91. So, there's been a good bit of time for this to sit, and I think it's time. I think we need to bring Bill and Ted back.
All right. You know what? There's no way this movie's going to be good. I'm just going to go ahead and say that out loud real quick, but if they wanted it to really make it good, they need to get Edgar Wright on this. Like, if anyone could turn this idea into something that's palatable, they need to give it to like someone like Edgar Wright, and he would make a fantastic Bill and Ted movie.
Right. So the guy that is tapped to direct it is, at least from the information released, is Dean Parasot, which he has done some fun stuff. He did Galaxy Quest. He was a director for that. He was a director, did some episodes of Monk. He did Fun with Dick and Jane, the Jim Carrey film, which wasn't too bad. Home Fries back in 98, and did some episodes of Justified, which that was a really fun show too. So, if he can bring some of the Galaxy Quest charm to it, I think we'll be all right.
Oh yeah, Galaxy Quest was fantastic. And I don't think this is a good idea, but I'm going to watch it. Like, even though it is a bad idea,
right?
You have to. I mean, you have to.
Yeah,
especially if Keanu is going to come back after doing all the like more serious actiony stuff that he's done, to bring this right back to his roots. Oh my God, I can't wait to see this.
And they also have the original writer, Chris Matheson. He's coming back for it too. He also did a Goofy movie, so we're set.
All right, so next up, have you heard about Into the SpiderVerse?
No.
Okay, so this is going to be a CGI feature-length film. I don't know if it's actually going to be out in theaters or not, but it is a CGI animated film, completely revolving around Miles Morales.
Okay.
So it's kind of his coming up as the Spider-Man. But there are crossovers with Peter Parker here and there. I've noticed in the trailer. And it actually looks really good, but this kind of brings me on to something else. And I know I've talked to you about this, but I've never said it on the show. I'm pretty sure that Marvel is about to kill off like Peter Parker in every media outlet. Like, ooh. I think they're going to make a couple more Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, and then they're going to kill him off and bring in Miles Morales as the only Spider-Man in any universe. I think that's going to happen.
I'm not sure if they're going to do that. I actually do remember seeing like a teaser trailer for this, but I thought it was for like a TV show, not a movie. Which it looks like it is going to be released in theaters. It's 3D and real D 3D. So this is a Sony film. This is it's got Liev Schreiber, Shamik Moore. I'm guessing is going to be playing the Miles Morales. Though I don't know anything about him. He's not not much on his IMDb there. So I mean, I don't think, because the rights are still so weird whenever it comes to Spider-Man, and like who has the rights to Peter Parker, who has the rights movie-wise for Miles Morales, because Sony's obviously has something with that. So I mean that would require Sony giving up total control of Spider-Man back to Marvel, and depending on how Venom does, they may be reluctant or very eager to do that.
Yeah. Well, see, I mean, I don't think that they would have to do much. And as a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet that when Marvel and Sony made this deal, I think Marvel came out and said, this is our plan for Spider-Man, to kill off Peter Parker and to bring in Miles Morales as the one and only. Because, I mean, like you said, this is a Sony film and featuring Miles Morales, but it's just CGI to start with. They referenced Miles Morales in a kind of third-hand way in the Spider-Man Homecoming film.
Right.
And in the Sony-made PS4 Spider-Man game that's just coming out, in the trailer, Miles Morales is there. So it's almost like in every iteration of Spider-Man, they're slowly going to phase out Peter and bring in Miles, which... I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Peter Parker fan. I grew up with him in the red and blues and the black suit, and I love Peter Parker. I'm a big fan of him. He's always going to be Spider-Man to me. But I really like Miles Morales too. I really like where they're going with this. He's got a couple weird new powers that it's kind of like meh, but like I like the idea because Peter's had his run. Like he's been Spider-Man for a long time.
Very long time. And I think he's done just about everything that he can do, including making deals with Satan.
Yes.
So, so I think they will bring Miles Morales into the MCU. That was Donald Glover. His character was Aaron Davis, who was the Prowler. Yeah, who was Miles Morales' uncle, yes. I believe, who also has his own like powers and weird stuff. I think he was actually... currently, he is the Iron Spider in the comics.
Is he really?
Yeah, Aaron Davis is currently the Iron Spider.
I can't keep up with him.
I know. How many Spider-Mens does there have to be?
All of them.
All the Spider-Mens, and we got clones and alternate universes, and who knows what. But, I think they will bring Miles Morales in. I don't know if they're going to kill off Peter Parker or just retire him gracefully.
Right. And I mean, I say kill off as in some form or fashion. He will no longer be the Spider-Man in any universe. Miles Morales will be the only one. Now, they've tried this before when they were doing the whole Ben Reilly thing, and I don't know if you ever read those.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so it was horrible execution with a piss-poor new character. No one really liked him. It was just a bad idea. But Miles Morales, they did it right. They started slow. They start introducing this character, and suddenly he's more of a focus, and suddenly he has spider powers, and he's doing his thing or whatever. And then everyone really likes him. Like he's got a really good reviews, and everyone just kind of connects with him, and that's awesome. And so if they're gonna do it, now's the time. But I'm just telling you guys, you've heard it here first on this show. The one person who listens, you. That's what's gonna happen. They're gonna retire him. Get ready. So. Moving on a little bit more. So, I'm sorry. I cannot believe they're making this movie. So, Rampage. Can we talk about Rampage for a second?
We can talk about anything The Rock is in.
And I'm glad you said it that way because, listen, for those of you who don't know, Rampage was an 80s arcade game where you choose to be either a giant monkey, a giant wolf, or a giant lizard, and you climb up buildings, you punch holes in them, and you eat the people out of the buildings. This is a video game, and that's as deep as that game went.
That was it. You were trying to collapse all the buildings and eat all the peoples while not getting shot by a helicopter.
Right. So break it down, and that's the entire game. Now, I'm sure Warner Brothers was like, okay, we have the rights to this. We should probably do something with it. How can this possibly translate? And someone interrupted and said, The Rock. And they were like, fuck it. Yes, go, do. Yes.
Done. Yep, and Warner Brothers. It's Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema decided we need to make a movie based off this because Battleship went over so well.
Right.
Because video game adaptation movies have worked so well in the past that we need to jump on this gravy train before it leaves the station.
I mean, I can only imagine the droves of people who were like, guys, this is a terrible idea. And then they were just like The Rock. And they were like, yes, go. This is it. This is perfect. We're going to make a movie.
That's the thing is I will literally watch any movie that he's in.
No, I know. And I get that. But it's one of those things where if something could never, ever possibly translate to film, you put The Rock in it. And it works. And I don't understand how. He's some kind of magic, but Jesus Christ, they're making a Rampage movie.
He is magic, and he revitalized the Fast and Furious series. Now, he was in, just in 2017, The Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious Part 8, which is now just Adventures with Cars.
Yes, it is.
He was in Baywatch, and that movie did horribly. Then he was in Jumanji,
which looks hilarious, by the way.
Which looks hilarious. I seriously haven't had a chance to see it, but apparently it made a buttload of money.
Yeah.
So this year he's going to be in Rampage, Skyscraper, which looks like I really want those two movies to actually be happening at the same time, and it's his twin brother.
A monkey knocks over the building, and he has to jump from one building to another. And...
Right. It's Dwayne The Rock Johnson's twin brother, who's in the skyscraper that they're demolishing. He's in another movie called Fighting with My Family. I don't know about that one. But then in 2019, do you know what The Rock's going to be in?
What's that?
Shazam.
Oh, yes. Oh, God. Yeah, I forgot.
Yup. Which is also going to be in the DC extended universe. Yes. So, yes. You know, I want to see Rampage because it looks like it's just going to be a treat.
Yeah, it really does. And I don't really know what to think of it, but other than the fact that this is a shitty 80s arcade game that they're like, throw the Rock in it, and it's going to be great. And I'm like, yes.
And it's going to work. It's going to work, and it's going to be fantastic. And it gets released on 4/20.
Of course it does.
Which is also the same day that Super Troopers 2 gets released.
So I'm kind of hoping, you know how they did this whole Crocodile Dundee like spoof trailer, and I'm hoping that this is going to be the same thing but much, much longer.
Oh, God, I hope so.
Like they drag it out all the way to release date, and then they just don't make the movie, and they re-release the game or something stupid like that. Oh, my God, that would be amazing.
It was just nothing but viral marketing for a new remastered Rampage.
All it was.
Oh, we can, that'd be amazing. So, I mean, with the way movie marketing is working these days, you never know. I mean, Netflix did the commercial for the Cloverfield Paradox during the Super Bowl and released it right after the game. They just did the same thing with the live action adaptation of Full Metal Alchemist, which this one, it's all Japanese actors, so no one can get pissed off. If the movie sucks, it's because the material was bad. Yeah. So I mean, they could just have, and again with the Crocodile Dundee thing, you kept hearing it's a movie, it's a hoax. I think it wound up being some advertising thing to
it's for like tourism.
Yeah, in Australia. Yeah. So it wouldn't be the weirdest form of advertising I've ever seen.
All right, so I got a couple more things we're going to hit on real quick. The next big trailer that's dropped, and we've had a few of these already, but I wanted to talk about it on the show, which was Ready Player One, which I've read the book. I don't know if you read the book or not.
I have not. I started reading it, and then I didn't finish it.
I mean, it was really. I mean, I didn't read the book. I'm an audiobook guy, but it was really, really good story. A lot of 80s nostalgia, a lot of like obscure 80s nostalgia. But the trailers actually look really, really good, and it's Steven
Spielberg.
Yeah, sorry, Steven Spielberg. And he makes good shit, so I'm okay with this. Plus Simon Pegg's in it, so I mean, I'm in.
Yes. Now the trailers that have been released look really, really cool. I'm definitely digging that. I just do have a big concern, and that is that all the nostalgia. I don't want there to be like, hey, look, Ghostbusters, wink, wink.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have, the DeLorean was featured kind of prominently in the trailers, and that's a very nostalgic, nostalgia-inducing visual icon. But
I Back to the Future DeLorean.
Yes. So what I don't want to see is like they pause for just a second too long on every little bit of nostalgia bait.
Yeah.
If it's going to be there, just let it go in the background. There it is, done.
Yeah, I wanted to be a background thing. I wanted to frame this story. Like the nostalgia part is actually really important to the story as far as the guy who set all this in motion. But I do agree with you. I just wanted to kind of be at the frame of what's happening in the story itself. But I don't know. I got high hopes because I think Spielberg can handle this kind of thing and make it awesome.
Yeah. Now I will say during the trailer, there's like this big battle scene going on where it's like everyone's like attacking this tower, and seeing a Gundam, a Voltron Lion, the Iron Giant, and all this other crap fighting on the battlefield is amazing. And if this was a vehicle to sell toys, then they would be able to sell all the toys.
Well, what I would love to see are all of these old toys really surging back. And, I mean, right now is, for some reason, 80s nostalgia is as big as it's been since the 80s, really.
Right.
Especially as far as, well, at least it's getting to that end. I mean, it's starting into the 90s nostalgia now. But, I mean, this is the perfect time for this movie. It was the perfect time for this book to drop. There's so much stuff that, you showed me how to go frame by frame on YouTube, and that's exactly what I did for like an hour at work the other day, where I was just frame by framing through this trailer, looking at all these awesome little hints, but I think you're right. I don't want it to really be the forefront of what's happening in the story, and I think they have it handily.
Right. I'd also like to see like some really, really obscure things pop up. Like I want to see some of the crap from like Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Right.
Or tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills.
See, that's the thing. I don't know if they're actually going to do that or not, because like the Iron Giant wasn't in the book, but it's recognizable, and it's probably something that they already had rights to. But like in the book, like our main character toward the end is running around in the giant robot from the Japanese version, the Japanese live action Spider-Man movie or show, right. Because he has a giant robot because Japan. But I haven't seen that anywhere, and I doubt that's going to be there because no one's going to know what that is. You know what I mean?
Right. They'll probably replace that with the Gundam.
Yeah. So I mean, well, the Gundam actually was in the book, so who knows?
Oh yeah. Huh.
But so anyway, hopefully that's going to be awesome. I feel like it's probably going to be, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to our last thing before we're out of time here, and that is the awesome, the only Fantastic Four movie that I've ever seen, which is The Incredibles 2 coming out. Because fuck the Fantastic Four movie franchise. We have The Incredibles. We don't need it.
Exactly.
Marvel, don't even worry about it, man. Look,
I'm very excited for this. It looks like it picks up not too long after the first movie.
As a matter of fact, I think it's right. I mean, I think it runs right into the next movie because he's dealing with the Underminer.
Right, and that's going to be kind of interesting because people have gone frame by frame through movies as they do, yes. And it looks like the first Incredibles movie takes place in 1972, because one of the he's reading a paper that from that has the date of 1960, and it was he was off the grid for 12 years, right. Something like that. So I want to see how they work that in. I hope they don't forget about that, and all of a sudden they're in present day.
Yeah, and I like I said, I'm pretty sure that this literally picks up at the last frame of the last movie into the first frame of this movie.
Yeah, because
I think it's going to work.
Yeah, because Jack is still just a kid. So.
Yeah, he's still a baby. And I'm pretty sure all the voice actors are coming back. Samuel Jackson, Holly Hunter, the coach. Which, again, way better than any Fantastic Four movie. And now that Disney owns both of these things, can't we just call this Fantastic Four and be done with it? Can't we just do that?
Well, because, Disney doesn't have the rights to Fantastic Four yet. Not yet, anyway. I'm sure it'll happen.
Need them.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it's just amazing how people have been wanting a sequel to The Incredibles forever.
Yeah.
And we're finally getting one 14 years after. I didn't realize that it had been that long, but 14 years since the first Incredibles movie.
Yeah, it's been a while. And you know what? I just read that Bob Odenkirk is going to be in this one, which I'm super excited about.
Yes. Yeah. That's just going to be icing.
So yeah, I'm really excited about this, man. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is my favorite Pixar movie. Was The Incredibles. The style that they had, the voice talent they had, the story was fantastic. I mean, not just because it's superheroes and I'm a superhero nerd, but it was just a really, really fucking good movie.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be. It's right up there. Yeah, I'd say The Incredibles is probably the top Pixar movie with WALL-E coming right behind it.
Really close. All right, guys. Well, anyway, that's our time. Thank you so much for joining us. It was awesome. Thank you, Brandon.
Absolutely, Jesse. Always a pleasure.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
All right. Peace out, guys.